And I used to attend these parties and have a good time at these parties, but that's just not me anymore. And so what? So be it. Be the person that you are. The only people that want to hold you back to the person that you used to be when you're trying to move forward are the people who benefit from it. And who do you care most about? Helping them to benefit or yourself?
Yeah, you wanted a million and you show it. What you want, is it really that important? You've been on my mind.
Hello, I am Kimberly, as you could probably tell from the name of my channel, and I just want to talk about a few things before we get ready to head into this new year. If you know anything about me, I've got a ton of opinions, and these are just some of my opinions about what we should be looking for as we get ready to venture into this new year. So if you think you're going to like that, please stay tuned. So, my first opinion is that you need to figure out what type of year you're going into this as. Like, what are you looking for in this year? Because I feel like this, honestly, if you're not careful, you are going to jump onto every trend, every title, every name. Are you an it girl? Are you that girl? Are you that girl becoming that woman? Is this your lazy girl era? Is this your soft life era? I'm not putting down any of those titles. But as you keep cycling through, if you don't have a strong understanding of what it is you want to do, who it is you want to be, and all of those things, you can get confused. You just, oh, I'll try a little of this, I'll try a little of that. And before you know it, you have a lot of just confusion. And I don't want that for you. And even just thinking about putting all that together reminds me of the time when Merch met Candy in the Best Men. Well, not when they met in the Best Men because she was stripping, but when he was talking to her on the street, he was trying to get her number, and he ended up giving her a bit of the Audre Lorde quote: "If I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies and eaten alive." It's not that these people are intending to eat you alive as they're giving you the soft girl, it girl, and all of those advice. It's just a matter of you just get lost in the sauce because there's just so much. One minute, someone may define soft life as not having to do much for yourself. Another minute, someone might define soft life as waking up late. Someone else may say, oh no, you need to have a 5 a.m. routine so that the rest of your day is, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot. And you have to determine what that really means to you just to ensure that you're not eaten alive. You know what I mean? All right, so my next opinion, you're probably not going to like it, and I'm sure you've heard it before. You have to take an account of what it is you want. You're going to have to sit down and really list those things out and be specific with it. But one thing I will say that's a slight twist on it for me is that before you do that, as you get ready to go into this new year, I need you to applaud the things that you did well in the last year, because I feel like people, especially women, don't spend enough time doing just that. So, what do I mean? I mean literally applaud yourself. Give yourself your flowers, because you may feel like, dang, this last year I didn't do so well. I need this next year to be, phenomenal and all of that stuff. But hold on, hold on. Because the reality is you made it through this past year, right? That alone tells me you're resilient. You deserve flowers for that. Hold on, wait. There's more, because this budget has been crazy. The economy has been very high, and yet you've made it to the end. You have been resourceful in terms of budgeting. You may have had staycations, but honey, you still made that work. You managed to romanticize some things. I hope at least you did that. So hey, more flowers, more applause for that. You know what I mean? Even if there is the temptation to say, no, it's not really good like that for me, sis, I'm really struggling. You could be in the midst of your struggles now, but here's what I want to challenge you to think about. I want you to think about something else that was difficult for you. I don't know, maybe you lost someone. You didn't think you'd be able to overcome a certain financial circumstance, and yet here you are. You know what I mean? You've overcome something in your life, but at the time of you going through it, you had no idea you would. At the time of you going through it, it was super dark and difficult. And yet here you are, you made it to the other side. So even if you're going through something right now, I'm telling you, you are going to find yourself in a place perhaps early in 2024. Who knows? It could even be before we get to 2024. It could be today. You will find yourself in a place where you're realizing, you know what? Yeah, I made it through that. Again, kudos to me. I beat that. And I don't like to use the term strong, because I feel like when you say something about, oh yeah, I'm a strong person, it gives people the idea, or even sometimes the permission, to pile more onto your plate You're resilient. You're effervescent. Even you rise despite those things that may have otherwise put you down. But I mean, there's nothing wrong if you like using the term strong. I just find that when people when people say or suggest that I'm a strong person, it kind of gives them the idea that there's a lot more that I can put up with, or there's a lot more they can ask of me. And no, I'm resilient. I bounce back, but I'm also smart. And so let's talk about some more of those things too, because yes, I do have more opinions. While I'm on this subject of applauding yourself, one of the things I want to say is be specific. Applaud yourself every single day, not just every day even, but throughout the day. Like, you know what? I am so proud of me. I loaded up the dishwasher not because I had more dishes to put in it, but I unloaded it because it was time, or I loaded it because it was, oh, look at how I cleaned that kitchen. I did a good job. Oh my goodness, look at how I did my hair. I did such a nice. Applaud yourself for lots of little things, because I feel like the more you do that, the more you hear the sound of that positivity, the more you know what that applause sounds like, the more you know what giving yourself those flowers feels like, what giving yourself those flowers smell like, the faster you'll be able to pull out or pick out or sniff out some stink. When someone comes to you and they've got something that's not as ideal, they're not giving you flowers, or they're sliding you those little slick comments, you know how people do. I feel like once you've applauded yourself and you've thrown those flowers at yourself deservingly, the faster you're able to know, yeah, this person probably doesn't mean me any good. Oh, yeah, okay. This person probably doesn't have my best interest at heart. You know what I mean? So the more you get used to hearing those positive things and feeling that positive light, the faster you'll know when someone's trying to dim it. So yes, applaud yourself frequently, often, daily. So now that we've applauded ourselves, I feel like we need to take an audit for ourselves. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you need to sit down and you need to figure out step by step every little thing about this new person that you want to be, this better version of yourself. And let me interrupt myself to say this. When I talk about bettering yourself or reinventing yourself or any of those things, I'm honestly comparing self to self. And I mean that in the strongest way possible. I mean, you are just bettering yourself as you should every year. You're just bettering yourself from what you were before. You are not comparing yourself to someone else. If you're comparing yourself to anyone, it is yourself. And I'm speaking even for me. Like, I compare myself to me, and not even my very young version of me. Clearly, I'm not in my 20s anymore. So why would I be comparing myself to my 20s self? Yep, things sat up higher when I was in my 20s. And I've seen women, do this comparison and they pull themselves and do all those things from all those different angles. Don't get me wrong, I want to age gracefully. I want to make sure that, hey, if there's some hyaluronic acid, if there is some retinol, if there's all that stuff, if there's some Botox even, I want to make sure that I embrace those things, but as the person I am now. I'm not trying to look like I was 20 again. I'm trying to look like my best today self. So as you hear me saying things like that, please know that that is all I mean. I mean, do not compare yourself to anyone else, because no matter how hard you work at it, no matter what you do, no matter the surgeries you may even get, you're never going to be them anyway. The most you can ever hope to be is your very best self. So let's just cut out all that extra stuff that people try to, oh, I want to look like. No. You need to look like just your best self and move that person forward. But let me get back to what I was saying. As you sit down and you do that audit for yourself and you're determining all the things that you want, I'm asking that you be very unapologetic about it. I'm asking that you get rid of anything and anyone who stands in your way. And honestly, I can apply this to my younger self. I remember when I was going to college, not many, actually not any of my childhood friends also attended college. And at that time, it was a big deal for me. Like, I wanted to come home and I wanted to show that, yeah, I'm going to school, I'm doing all of that, but I'm still me, girl. I can still hang with you. We can still do, all the stuff that we used to do. Like, for whatever reason, it was really important for me to prove that I was still down. And it was ridiculous. We were at a party, I'll never forget. So we're at a party Over here, you got people drunk. Over here, you got people smoking who knows what. And I just remember thinking, yeah, this really isn't me. It's just it's not me anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I found though that my friends were like, "Oh, college girl this," and again, remember what I said about applauding yourself so you know when something kind of smells amiss? I had a feeling. I was like, the way that hit kind of hit funny, but I just didn't have the language. I didn't have the background. I hadn't applauded myself enough to know that these are not people that are saying this to uplift me or for my benefit at all. In fact, it benefited them to have that one more person in their crowd. It benefited them to see, oh yeah, she may be going to college, but she really just she ain't no better than us. Like they needed to pull me down to some degree. And I just didn't understand that at the time. But now I know, and I'm encouraging you, make sure that you are just unapologetic about the new person that you want to be. Yeah, I used to be in that corner or even in that corner, whatever. And I used to attend these parties and have a good time at these parties, but that's just not me anymore. And so what? So be it. Be the person that you are. The only people that want to hold you back to the person that you used to be when you're trying to move forward are the people who benefit from it. And who do you care most about? Helping them to benefit or yourself? Another thing is, as you rid yourself of things and people who don't serve you, I need you to be okay with a bit of constructive isolation. And what do I mean by that? I mean that this isn't the time where you sit around and throw yourself a pity party. Oh, I ain't got no friends, and maybe you don't. But it's more so the time that you think of what can I do to better myself. Use that isolation time constructively. And some of the things I think of, for example, if you're a woman who is single, perhaps you live on your own, this would be a good time for you to take a class like a karate class, a self-defense class, things like that. So it's going to do two things for you. One, it's going to give you even more confidence about, hey, yeah, I'm on my own. I'm able to take care of myself right now in this season or whatever. It's also going to give you an opportunity to meet other people who are like-minded. Karate isn't the only class. I think sometimes you should take advantage of your community centers. There are dancing lessons that you might be able to take. Nothing wrong with mixing it up with a little salsa dancing, line dancing. Two-stepping is a big thing here in KC. So look into that. If you're looking for more higher end type of classes, then of course you could try Pilates, bar, things like that. But just on a practical level, get out of the house. Use this time well. Do other things. I strongly encourage you. Like there's never a time you will find me without an audiobook in my phone. I use them when I go walking, when I'm driving. A lot of times I don't even listen to the radio, talk shows or music or anything. I'm literally listening to a book, and it's usually a book to better myself. But find something that's more uplifting that you can listen to, something better than just scrolling on Instagram and scrolling on TikTok mindlessly, and then you look up and you've wasted a good portion of your day and gotten nothing out of it. I promise you, my attitude, my whole mentality is that, baby, if you're going to take up some of my time, you're going to have to give me something for that. My time matters to me. You know how they say time is money? Really look at yourself that way. Like, hey, if there's an exchange of currency, there is an exchange of currency. And when you start looking at your time as money, you really find yourself wanting to get something out of it. And so that's why I say use this time as a part of constructual. No, I didn't. What in the Medea was that? Use this time as constructive isolation. It gives you something to talk about. It makes you a more interesting person. I literally was at Cheddar's restaurant the other day. Not a high-end restaurant, but anyway, I was at Cheddar's restaurant and I couldn't help but overhear. I sat in the bar top area, and this guy walked up to a woman who was sitting at the bar, and he was just kind of like, so, how are you doing? He was trying to get to know her and fill her out. He ends up asking her, what are some of the things you like to do? And I could tell she just didn't even have a response. She was like, oh, I like to eat. I like to go out. I like to travel. And he was like, oh, okay, travel. What are some places you've been to? Oh, I've been to Texas. And I could tell by his response, he was pretty much turned off. And I didn't hear him talking much to her anymore. have something interesting to say. Be a more interesting person. When you're taking those karate classes, when you're taking those community classes, the bar, the Pilates, the things like that, you're going to run into people who are like that, who are also interested in that. You're going to have something to talk about with them. Have those experiences. Listen to audiobooks. You don't have to be a person who actually travels. Just, oh, one of the things I like doing is reading. And lately I've been reading a book about, and then just go into that conversation. Hey, what do you think about that? What are your hobbies? What interesting things are there to learn and discover, either about yourself or for someone else to discover about you? But whatever it is, use that time wisely. Going back to my experience that I mentioned in college when I would slide in those slick college girl remarks and all of that stuff, I don't even know why it even almost mattered what they thought about me. They're clearly weren't my friends. They might have been for a season, they might have been for a time, but clearly we had just moved in different directions. And it's not about I'm a better person than them and they're lower or they're beneath me. It's just about just going in different directions. I don't know why there always has to be this I'm better than you and you're scrap that. Sometimes people just go in different directions, and there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that at all. But as you go into your different direction in this new year, this new season, whatever you want to call it, you're going to be able to attract more people who are like minded by having those activities, by going to those classes, and by doing those things, having those conversations. And that's another thing I challenge you. I love that the guy approached the woman at the bar, and I like that she was open to having that conversation. But daggone, you need to have something to actually talk about. Not the things that you've heard someone else say, ooh, it sounds like a good idea. I'm going to say, I love traveling too. I'm going to be an authentic person, genuinely talk about, oh yeah, you know what? I've been taking a cooking class over at the community center. And one of the things I'm learning is how to mix different herbs and how to just talk about whatever it is. Like literally have a conversation about those things that you're interested in. The worst thing that can happen is you're trying to have a conversation with someone who's not interested in that, and baby, that's a favor. They're helping you. You're quickly eliminating that. I do want to touch on losing those fake friends. I'm not going to pretend that, oh, it's good written by heifers, glad you're gone. No, there is a loss. There is a grieving process even that you tend to go through with those people. Yeah, they may have been your fake friends and all of that, but there's still that loss with which you have to deal. So I do want to acknowledge that. I don't want to trivialize that at all. It's an important thing. It's an important process. But I will say this too. One is that you'll come out a stronger person because of it, having learned something from it all and move forward. You're going to feel more confident in all of that. And then the second thing is that because you found someone whose goals and thoughts and ideas and all of that align more closely with yours, you've gotten that good and solid friends, you're going to find that the loss of those other friends, I should say, was well worth it. That grief was well worth the game. So let me just recap what I've said so far. I feel like I've gone through 6 things. I may have gone through them in such rapid succession or maybe even jumbled succession that you didn't quite catch them. So I do want to go over them. 1, applaud yourself for the things that you've been resilient about and you've made it through so far. 2, set goals for yourself and make sure that those goals are specific, step by step. What do you look like in the morning doing this? What do you look like weekly doing this? Monthly, quarterly, and that's going to help you to get to your year-end goal. Number 3, be unapologetic about getting rid of anything and anyone that might stand in the way of those goals you mentioned in number 2. Number 4, make sure that the steps you take and the things you do are actually in alignment with your goal. Number 5, be prepared for constructive isolation. And then finally, number 6, align yourself with people who have those similar interests as you. Make those new friends and move about in this new year with that. You may not have needed to get rid of old people and have to acquire new friends. You may be fine with moving into this new year with your same old friends. Nothing wrong with that. But acquire some new friends of interest as well. All right, so those are my opinions about making this upcoming year an awesome year for yourself. I hope you are successful in all that you dare to do. And remember, my opinions are just that. They are opinions. If you have some opinions that you would also like to offer, I'd love to hear them. In the meantime, I want to thank you for tuning into my channel. I realize that you could be anywhere. I don't take the time you spend with me for granted at all. I appreciate your time and take care.